Steel mills, wind turbines, electric buses. China's new climate pledge seems to cover everything. But the question is, will the rest of the world follow suit?
So it's May 8th, 2025, and China's just dropped a climate plan that's making headlines everywhere. Let's break it down. What exactly has China promised this time around?
For the first time, China's committed to a broad emissions reduction plan. Every sector, all greenhouse gases, not just carbon dioxide from energy. President Xi made the announcement during a virtual meeting with other leaders, stressing that China won't slow down no matter what's happening internationally. That's a shift, because until now, their climate targets only focused on part of the emissions picture.
So they're really expanding the scope. Before, their 2030 goals only covered energy-related CO2, right? Now it's every greenhouse gas, methane, nitrous oxide, everything. And this touches all sectors, like steel, cement, transport?
Exactly. The new pledge sets 2035 goals for the whole economy. Steel, cement, aluminum, transport, even agriculture. It's not just talk. They're embedding carbon emission controls into national development plans. Before, they mainly tracked energy use. Now, they'll manage actual emissions, both the intensity per unit of GDP and the total released.
That's a real change. So it's no longer just about how things are done, but about actual outcomes. And this new dual control system, intensity now, total emissions later. How does that play out in practice?
Until 2030, the main focus is on carbon intensity, how much is emitted per unit of economic output. After 2030, the goal shifts to total emissions. This gets woven into their economic planning, and they're planning to expand the emissions trading system. By the end of this year, it'll cover more heavy industries, so companies will actually have to buy or sell emission allowances. That's a market signal to cut emissions.
What about progress so far? China's made some headway, right? By the end of 2023, they'd cut energy intensity by 7.3% compared to 2020. But that's only halfway to the 2025 target, isn't it?
Yeah, they know they're behind. That's why last May, they rolled out a more detailed plan, aiming for 2.5% less energy use and a 3.9% drop in CO2 intensity by the end of 2024. And specific sectors, like steel, got hard targets too. Energy per ton of steel must drop by over 2% by 2025, compared to 2023.
And the energy? Are renewables growing quickly enough to make this work?
Solar and wind installations are up a lot. The target is at least 20% of energy from non-fossil sources by 2025. There's also a big push for electric vehicles and clean public transit. For the tougher sectors, cement, shipping, China's investing in carbon capture and hydrogen, with pilot projects and plans to scale up.
So what does all this mean globally? The UN Secretary General said it's extremely important. Brazil's calling on others to step up. Will China's move actually raise the bar for everyone else?
It sets a benchmark. China's the largest emitter, so their actions shift expectations. With the COP30 summit coming up in November, this puts real pressure on other countries to update and strengthen their climate plans. It could be a diplomatic lever. If China's moving, what's the excuse for others to stand still?
But implementation is the real test. Ambitious targets are one thing, actual reductions another. Do we know how they plan to enforce all this?
They're building enforcement into economic planning and expanding the emissions trading system. There'll be financial incentives for meeting targets, penalties for missing them. But, as always, the details matter. We'll have to watch how the 2035 goals develop and how local governments actually respond.
So, is this a turning point for global climate action or just another promise on paper?
It's a major signal. If China follows through, it could really speed up the global transition to a low-carbon economy. But as always, It'll come down to how things play out over the next decade.
That's it for today. China's new climate pledge: comprehensive, ambitious, and possibly transformative. Will others step up? We'll be watching.
Thanks for joining us. We talked through China's expanded climate targets, how their approach is shifting, and what this could mean globally. Keep questioning. Who's leading on climate, and who's catching up?